Good morning. Turn that down a little bit. Hey, hey, hey. Let me show you the pumpkins. We painted these pumpkins last week, or week before last actually, with that's showing up so bright, with DIY paint, the clay-based paint. I used gypsy green, mint chip, apothecary, and I know I used a white. I don't even see the white out here right now. But anyway, I'm moving into Plan B. Those have been painted, and after I got done painting them, these are the little orange styrofoam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. So obviously they were $1. After I put 2 coats of paint on them, then I painted their little thing here brown, and I put some liquid patina on it to sort of protect and be a top coat over the paint. And I tried to smear a little bit of the brown down into some of the crevices there as I was going, hey Carlin. And I would also at that time was working with the amazing casting resin and the IOD molds to create molds to, and here's the packaging on the IOD molds in case you're looking for them, to create these designs that I've got on the pumpkins now. And I'm hoping this don't come back and bite me in the patootie, because the ones that we made last week, it said you needed to paint it right away, and I wasn't going to be working on them right away, but I tried to get them on rounded and shaped, and some of them worked and some of them didn't, because it was my first time using the resin and I was learning and sharing that with you. So I did slap some paint on these. These particular ones that are on this pumpkin kept some of the roundedness, and I used some 3-in-1 glue to glue them down. The rest of them are over here flat as a pancake, and this stuff is hard. Now I could break it. Now this would work as a piece of, on a decorative furniture, like a piece of wood. I used paper clay on some as well, and here's the paper clay one. If you wanted to see that, I'll make some of these to go on furniture later. But anyway, so most of these didn't take shape. So I planned on doing this live this morning, but I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on that part of us doing this. So I went ahead and made the molds this morning. This is the part I'm hoping doesn't bite me in the patootie. I wanted to hurry up and get the molds on here so that they could take the shape of the pumpkins and hopefully look good when I paint over them, and they stuck. So now I'm hoping this doesn't lift off later, because it's not glued under there, it's just sticking there. So believe me, I will tell you the truth. If I come back later and these things are not like they're supposed to be. This one's for my BFFK. She loves sunflowers, so I last minute did that one. I'm going to give it a sunflower look. But I'm also excited this morning. I'm going to be this. I've never used this before, so if there's an explosion, you'll know what happened. This is the copper patina from Dixie Belle, and apparently you shake this real well. I watched some videos. I'm trying to learn, and they have good instruction stuff. But anyway, apparently this has real copper particles in it. So you paint this on whatever surface you want to, and put a second coat on, and let the first one dry, put the second coat on, and while your second coat is still damp, you spray it with this stuff. Oh, I thought it was green. They have a blue and a green, but I just bought the blue. And you spray this on, and it creates an actual real, depending on whether you're using iron or bronze or copper, which is the one that I have, it's going to create a true patina on there. So I'm going to patina up one of these pumpkins. I've been aching to try that, so we're going to try that. And probably the white one, because I won't be able to put a second coat of white on here because I don't know what I did with it. But isn't that a pretty mold? I just made that this morning using that casting resin. I mean, not even 10 minutes ago. Within 5 minutes, it was set and ready to go on there. You can put these on furniture, paint over them. You could go and buy the $2 picture frame somewhere, and then make one of these things to go up on each corner, and you've got a $30 picture frame. That's what's so cool about this stuff too. I'm so unprepared this morning, so I ran in and I opened myself up another one of these El Cheapo set of brushes. I paid like $5.99 for this whole set of 25 because I forgot my brushes at home. So luckily I found one old chip brush and I opened me up this one. So those are what we're going to paint with this morning. And don't know if I'll use these, but I couldn't help myself to go dig in my stash. I got a hammered copper gilding wax and a turquoise teal gilding wax. And so we may use those too. So I'm going to flip the camera down now to where you'll be, instead of looking at me, you'll be looking at the pumpkins. And let's see if I can get started figuring out what in the world I'm going to do. I have to make sure that I can see me live on here. I'm doing this on my tablet. And this is why when you see people do a live and they stop for a minute and you're like, why don't they just have their act together before they start? Well, because there's no way to get your act together before you start. Plus, this is delayed. Because now when I turn the camera down, if I don't have it on my tablet, I can't know when you can still see my pumpkins. So, here we go. And it's delayed over there, so now I'm thinking this is perfect. I'm thinking it is. But because between what I do on here, I guess, in case Facebook thinks I'm going to say a bad word, until this comes out on the other tablet, we don't, oh, there's my tea, y'all. If you have blood pressure issues, drink hibiscus tea. It tastes really good and it lowers your blood pressure naturally. Okay, so let me see if I can, I made me this little work surface that I can usually use. This is the center of it, and I can usually use that to look up and see if I have everything where I need it to be. It's so weird looking at that. Okay, so which one should we start on? I think I want to start on the Patina one because I just can't wait, and because we'll put it over this white pumpkin because I don't know what I did with the white paint, so I can't put another coat of white over this one anyways. So we'll start there, and that way this first coat can be drying while we're working on the other pumpkins. I love copper. I love the look of copper. But apparently copper is very expensive. The drawings for the house plans for our house called for a copper roof just on the, like the little, what's similar to a bay window, the little jutted out part off of our dining room. The window sort of goes out like that. And there was supposed to be a copper roof there. And my husband told me we would never be able to afford to have a copper roof out there. I still bring it up and he still says no. Apparently a copper roof is very expensive. Okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to wet my brush first or not. Gosh, that's so pretty to me. I hope it shows these details like I want it to. I'm digging it down in there, and I'm sure y'all can see that. I'm digging it down in there and getting in those crevices really good. Gosh, this is pretty. I love all those metal colors, but I love copper the most. Here's a tidbit for you, and I may be wrong, but I think I'm right. I collect money and Beanie Babies. How old is that? But I've always collected coins, and you know, American coins and coins from other countries and things like that. But to me, you can tell the old pennies. For some reason, they remind me of my mama. And there's a difference in the look because of the patina that begins to come on pennies from when they had more copper in them, or when they were actually more copper than they are now. And if I'm correct, they quit using as much copper in the pennies in 1983. So whenever you see a penny, if it looks a little darker than a regular penny, look at it. And if it's 1982 or earlier, it's worth more in its weight in copper than it is in its penny. And save it, because you know, one day there won't be very many of those around. Maybe your great grandkids can go to college on the pennies you save. Now what am I going to put it on to dry? This is the cup I mixed that resin up in, so I'm just going to sit this up here on that and sit it over here in the corner to dry. I think it dries pretty fast. Now I only have one of these brushes. You know what? I think I've got a bunch of them hidden in my closet right here. I'm going to look. This one's smaller, which, no, it's not. It's the same. Or maybe, no, it's the same. But that's going to help anyways, because I am going to need to put a little more over these. So I'm just going to, I'm going to do this one next. If this is the one, I hope that y'all can see the details on these. This is the one that has the sunflower on it. That reminds me of Kay, and I think that was mint chip. So I'm going to put a little bit more mint chip over it, and then I'm going to try to, as soon as that dries, I'm going to go with a little detail on in color on these particular ones. Probably should have just painted right in color on it. I wanted this sunflower to be yellow, and of course the yellow paint's at home. I told my husband the other day, he's like, you have so much stuff up there, and I'm like, dude, you know, I'm toting that crap back and forth from home to work and home to work. I need a whole nother set of everything. He thinks our upstairs is going to cave in from the weight of my craft room. I hope he's not right. Hi Jill, thanks for watching. Yes, I love the copper, Carlin. Okay, so there's a little bit of that on there, and I know it doesn't take long to dry. I borrowed from him this drying apparatus, a heat gun, and it is a real, like, professional heat gun, and I know it will melt a hole right in these pumpkins, so I'm not going to be messing with trying to dry that, but I sure wish I had a fan in here or something. Okay, let's put a little more apothecary over this one. It's taken off that brown that I thought I was being so clever putting on there, but I can put it again. That's the power of paint. Put it, re-put it. Put it, re-put it, and put it again. Okay, let me get this green one. I want you to be able to see the details of the designs that I'm putting on here from hopefully the, you know, the dark that I put in the crevices later, but not, you know, other than this one, which I'm going to paint colors, not notice them particularly because of the, you know, them being on there. I want them to be subtle and sort of look distressed. That's the goal. That may not have been right. What in the world was that? That's gypsy green, that's right. That brown had really darkened that up some. I don't know yet that I'm going to be putting Hobby Lobby out of business, but for their, I looked at some pumpkins there the other day, and I'm like, I will surely not own a pretty pumpkin if I got to pay that much for it. But so far, I got to have a little fun and spend a little time with y'all, and I'm in it probably $1.25. You know? We already used, I had, when I started on these pumpkins, I had probably twice this many, plus some little bitty ones, and they're already out in the window display. I am already out of, already using them, so without the designs on them. Okay, now, while this paint is still a little bit wet, I'm going to wet one of these tiny little brushes, and I'm going to get me a little bit of this chocolate brown and try to dig in the details a little bit. This is what you would or what I would normally do with a glaze or a wax or something like that. But I'm also all up into do what you can with what you got. And right now what I got is paint. So paint is what I'm going to use. So therapeutic to me to get to do this kind of stuff during the day. Put a little bit more up on that stem. I keep wanting to call it a stump. And I'm going to go down in these crevices just a tad, and this is pretty obvious, so this isn't just a tad, but hopefully I'm going to be able to blend that in a minute, and it will look like I did all that on purpose. Because I sort of am doing all that on purpose. Oh man. I will still, since I'm using this clay-based paint, I will still need to put, I'll still need to put some type of finish over this to protect it. Was the green the last I used? I think it was. Yeah, let me just go over my decorations a little bit and then down in them crevices with the green. I don't want it to look like a bunch of stripes. You know, I think I'm probably guilty of just wanting to play. That's probably exactly what it is I'm have reached the age where I'm ready to be playing again. Playing with friends and playing with paints and stuff, just seeing what I can do and what I can create and what I can have a good time with. And I don't think there's a thing in the world wrong with that. I think women need that. We have to take life too seriously for too long. Get a little bit more green. I should probably be changing paintbrushes right and left, but probably in reality, man, look, you know what I did? I got out Fancy Farm Girl. I knew I was going to do that. I have that out here for that sunflower. Let me get back that gypsy green. It ain't hurt a thing, though. Man, I wish that copper would hurry up and dry. I don't want this to get too muddy, and it's already starting to get muddy, so I'm rinsing out my brush. And I'm going to just, instead of contaminating my container, I'm just trying to get some of that out of there. Yes, Carlin, I love to play. Hi, Christine. Yeah, you can't see. Oh, well, y'all, I'm sorry. Thank you, Christine, for telling me that. Let me see if I'm a doofus. I should have been looking. There's a delay on this. Let's see if we can have it now where I'm working at. Well, that was a bummer. Sorry about that, y'all. There we go. There's my pumpkin. Sorry about that. So now I've got it to where there's dark all over it from putting the brown in there, and I'm going to go back over and sort of smush in some more of the green on top of that. But just, I'm trying to get more of the green on the outer, the sort of the fat parts of the pumpkin and leave the centerpieces still darker. I'm not wanting to put it on that copper. That's what I got going on here. Why I probably subconsciously brought it back to where y'all couldn't see it. I'm so glad you told me that. I would have been all bummed. Copper is still wet. Okay, I'm trying to just hit over the top of my little decoration there, but let that brown stay deeper down in there. And this is just an El Cheapo chip brush. This is the one I just got out of the closet. I went to Lowe's and bought all they had one day. They had a box full of them for like $1 something, and I just bought the whole dang box and brought them up here. I'm gonna use them. We're gonna have at the Artisan Market at Get Healthy, where I'm working at right now in the little classroom. We're gonna have a 10th anniversary party on October 13th on that Saturday, and I'm gonna have those brushes out for other girls to get to come and play in the paint with me. And We'll just have one less than we had to begin with. So here we are on the pumpkin. There it is on the bottom, and you can see how it's a little more shaded in the crevices. And I think, let me see if I can move my finger out of the way. And then I can't. I'm gonna sit it down to do it. But can you see the? Let's do it this way. The details that are on there. That's from the IOD mold and the amazing casting resin. We're gonna let it dry, and then I'll probably put some of this liquid patina on it to protect the surface. Rinse out that brush, and let's do the same exact thing to this. What color pumpkin is this? Apothecary. Rinse out my brush. Grab a little brown for the details. Oh, I did that with a little bitty brush, didn't I? Put that back in there. Do the same thing. And let me move it back over here. I almost did it again. I'm just digging in there with that brown and not worrying about being neat, because you want some like a little bit under it and down in all those crevices, all over it. You do not have to be neat with this part, because you're going to paint over it in a minute anyway. And you want it to be a little bit darker all around that, why do I keep wanting to call it a stump? The thing right there that it grows off of. Man, menopause brain. I can blame it on that. Went through menopause nearly 30 years ago. Okay, same thing. Let's get some brown in those crevices. I'm going to go a little heavier with it on this one. I love the color of that chocolate and that apothecary together. I did a set of end tables in that, and it came out very, very nice. Is anybody else decorating for fall already, or do you decorate for fall? I'm not a big fall decorator per se. I like to do this part of it. I like to make the stuff to make sure that's not drying out. I like to make the stuff to decorate with, and I decorate at work. But I'm not as decorative at home. I spend all my decorative energy up here at work. Looking at this is still soaking wet, and I see some type of clear stuff coming out there in the center. I hope that's not like melting that resin. Trying to get this over it without smearing it too awful bad, but smearing it is sort of the point. So I'm going to turn my brush sideways now and run this all the way through. That's just lightening up that brown, toning it out a little bit with that apothecary, but yet still leaving the shadows of it there. At this point, I should let it dry a little, but we know. Yes, I love to do this stuff for Thanksgiving. You always decorate. I love to decorate too, but stem, yes, thank you. You're probably gonna have to remind me of that again in a minute. Stem, I don't know what is the matter with me. But anyway, so this is still soaked, but I'm wanting to just go back over it again and hit the higher areas with the, I'm turning my brush to, there I smeared it. Try to have the blue on the top there. Pour just a tad in my lid. Or, you know, I'm gonna pour it directly on my brush and then mash it in the lid. then I'm going to be wondering why my lid's sticking. Yeah, fall I think is the prettiest of the decor. I mean, you know, I used to go all out at Christmas and all that stuff and decorate, you know, inside and outside and all my dining room and my bar and my counters and the whole ordeal. And now I'm like, okay, the tree is up, done. But I spend weeks and weeks and weeks creating handmade ornaments and stuff to go in the windows up here at work. Okay, I think this one is about where I want it to be. Trying to come out of there just a tad on that. We'll see how it looks when it dries. It's gonna have my fingerprints on it. But I haven't committed any crimes, so I guess my fingerprints are okay. This has got to dry. It's driving me crazy. I want to do it. It's almost there. Gives us enough time to, what are we going to do? To come back and do something on here. I still want this, even though I'm going to do this in color, I still want, let me do this. I still want there to be some darkness in the crevices of the pumpkin. So I am going to go in the beginning and put this brown in around the edges. This may look like a disaster, and if it does, it's paint. I'll do it over again. It's just paint. You know what? Let's do the whole dang thing. Let's get it up in there. Stem. Why can I not remember that? I'm just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing with this brush, and this paint is pretty dry. I didn't, because I want it to dry quick for one, but I'm having to really rub to get it up in all those crevices where I want it. Now I'm gonna stick my brush in some water and try to thin it out a little, because I don't want it as much down the crevices of this one, because I want the details and the attention to be paid to these things. Aggravated that I don't know what my yellow's at home, and I can't even remember what Queen Bee is what I was going to use on this. I don't even know what in the heck I was painting Queen Bee, but everything happens for a reason, so we're going to paint it orange. I'm just trying to tip over the top of it. Thinking about using some of that, what do they call it? Golden ticket, or maybe I'll use some of that hammered copper or something like that, patina on here. Like in the center of the flower. That's what I had that fancy farm girl out for earlier. I'm going to put a little bit of green on those and pretend they're leaves. When in reality, they're some kind of pretty feather. Can you see that? I'm going to put just a tad of the green on here. Maybe a little on the stem. Why not? Why not? Famous last words of a crafter. Why not? Okay, instead of using that big old brush, gosh, don't let that be drying. I'm gonna go back. What was that? No, that was the mint chip, right? Yep. I'm gonna get a smaller brush and go ahead and, when going over the appliques, I have great success using a brush that I've cut the, oh yeah, that would be smart, Christine, to cut the bristles short. Yep. That's what a lot of people do with their old chip brushes, is cut them down short. To be able to jam it in there real good. I'm just, if you didn't come in the beginning, I was unprepared this morning, and I'm just happily trying to make it through the day. I'm laying this on pretty thick, just going around over it. Trying to brown it back up just a little bit here at the top. Thank you, Carlin. If you knew how little I could see, you would be really proud of me. Oh, man. Okay. We're going to let this one dry, and then, well, let me try something else. Let me grab one of those tiny little brushes, because I just can't wait, and see if I can get a little bit of gold on there. Little bit of golden ticket. I think our copper patina pumpkin's almost dry. All right. Just going with just enough to hit it here and there. Maybe it will just catch the eye just a tad here and there. And a little on the stem. How about that? I remembered the word. just because. I wish it was brighter, but that's just not the way this paint works. Plus, fall's not supposed to be bright, right? I can act like that's on purpose. Boom, done. Done with that one. Okay, here's the prize of the day. I'm going to put a second coat on. I probably put that first coat on too thick. May have been my problem. But I just was too excited and I wanted to see it and I couldn't wait. I wonder if I should do the stem too. I probably should. When I get this off, I'll do the stem too, because we're just going to let the patina run down it. So excited about this. I'll be copper patina and everything on. Is that a verb? I'm patinaing. Don't bother me right now. I'm patinaing. Patinaing. Okay, the magic moment. Trying to get it back in the center. I can't seem to. Oh, wrong lid. I felt like I moved that thing right over back into the center, but I see that it's not, so I'm going to move it. I've never done the rose gold. I'm excited to try it. Am I under the center there for y'all? Let me give it a second there with the delay. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit more. Woohoo! Okay, here we go. This is like, it says shake well. This is not primed yet, and this comes with the, like, this had this little bitty lid on it. It's $16.99, and then it comes with the sprayer. And it was so full to the top, I was worried that it was going to spill over whenever I sprayed it. I mean, whenever I put this in. Ooh, it's coming out quick. I thought it was going to take a minute. I was had a whole explanation going of what. It smells like vinegar. I want to make sure and get some around the bottom. Now, I don't know how long this is going to take, but I've done it. Apparently, from what I've read, within about 5 minutes, you should start to be able to see the actual copper patina begin to develop on this piece. So, let's see if I can find. The blue stuff is piling up in there in the middle. I'm going to job a hole in this stem, pour a little bit of that out. I wonder if that's going to have a patina on it right there where that was sitting, because that was copper too. Now I need to fill that hole. All of my ideas aren't brilliant, but it only takes a couple, right? There we go. And boom. So now what do we talk about? Let's talk about this pumpkin is almost dry. Let me see that. I like that. I wish I didn't have to put a top coat over it and it could stay muted like that, but it, you know, with this particular paint you just need to. So I'm going to do that now. Let me see if I can get one of these brushes rinsed out. We'll go ahead and put the patina on this one while we wait, the liquid patina, just to protect the paint itself. Let's see if I can figure out a way to do this where you can see both. That vinegar smells strong, but you know what? I'm so thankful to be smelling a vinegar smell instead of an acid or a chemical smell of some sort, because I wouldn't want to do it then. No craft is worth dying over. This stuff's thin. I'm gonna shake it. I probably sprayed way too much of that spray on there, but that's a lesson we're gonna learn together. Unless you've done this before, then you could have been teaching me. That's a lot of liquid patina. Stay busy, stay busy. Just keep looking. There's always something you can be doing. It's probably going to pile up in there too because I got so much, but that's okay. Cups that I was sitting these things on to dry the other day. These are perfect for that. Let's see if I can get this up and sit it out of the way. And this one's not dry enough. I put that paint on very thick, but I love how that looks on top. I'm gonna go ahead and put, this one's not quite dry enough either, so I'm not gonna go ahead and do a dang thing. This is looking good. I did, I'm sure, put it on there too heavy. I'm not wanting to pick it up right now. There's still some heavy pieces through there, but you're beginning to see, think of how I can pick it up. It's beginning to streak down on the sides and leave some empty places that'll just be copper, and there's probably a lot more blue patina on there than there should be, but let's see if I can lift it up. I like it. So far, so good. I'm going to move it a little bit to the left because it is still sitting in a puddle of patina. And because I'm impatient, we're going to go ahead and put liquid patina on this one. You know, there's another little tip that you can do when you're putting your liquid patina on is, if you want, you can put a little bit of the color that you're using in with the patina. And this reminds me of that because this paint was just wet and I just smeared it. And it will keep it from having streaks in your finish. So I'm going to come back with just a tad of this brown to go on this stem. There you go. I remembered again. I'm a stem success story. Stem remembering fool. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way. When that dries, I'll probably put a little bit of that hammered copper gilding wax on that decorative finish there. And I don't want to mess this one up. I'm just going to drop that in there that way. I smeared it. See, that's what I get. You know what? Everything happens for a reason. Let's smear a little bit of the green too. We'll just smear it all out all over this pumpkin. Act like that was the plan the whole time. That was the plan the whole time. There are bristles coming out of this chip brush right and left. I think it gives my piece a little character. How about that? I might come back with some acrylic. Either I'll leave this alone or I'll show you a picture of it if I change it. You know what? Let me look, because everything happens for a reason. Right now I'm fixing to see. I brought the wrong container of paint today. Nope, there's no yellow in here, so that wasn't the answer either. I was thinking maybe it was, I had some yellow paint in there, but I don't. Okay, so. Watching paint dry. I'm going to open a new queen bee. Can't help myself. Can't just sit here and do nothing. Can you see that? Woo. I think it needed the yellow anyway. When this is done drying, it will not, the Dixie Belle paint does not need a top coat. It has an acrylic polymer in it that serves as like a built-in top coat. So it will not need a top coat the way that the DIY, which is clay-based, will need a top coat. So when this one's done, it'll be done. You see a lot of brush strokes in that, I think. Looks so cool. This is back to the Fancy Farm Girl. I liked this having a little bit of the color on it, so I'm going to go back in and put a little color on it. And what I'll do later is spray this with a top coat instead of brushing it on, and just spray over these last few parts that I'm painting right now to get to protect these colors, because I do want them to be kind of bright and protected. I think y'all like that better. I think y'all like that better. It needed the yellow, don't you think? And I'll still probably put on some of that other, well, I'm guessing at this point, looking at this, this was the, I'm going to turn this around so that y'all can see all of that. There's definitely blue all over it. It's not all the way dry, so I'm getting fingerprints all over it. But look right here. You know what I'm guessing? I'm guessing that my table's not level. This is a 100-something-year-old building, so this whole building's probably not level. And the people who put the floors in this particular building didn't do such a good job. That was when somebody else owned it before us. And so right now something's not level because I sprayed that on there. It should have been running around on both sides. But in nature, had this copper pumpkin been living outside, in all likelihood it would have been raining on this side of it, creating this patina, but this side of it would have been closer to a building and maybe protected from some of the elements, and it would have not had as much patina on it. So I'm going to go with that story and stick with it. That's sort of weird looking. So this patina will continue to develop. It almost, you can almost see a little bit of green in that blue. I should have ordered both colors, but I didn't order the blue, so blue is what we have. And wish that I could, I'm gonna try this anyways. This is the hammered copper. I'm gonna just get a little bit of this with my, on my finger, and brush over just the top edges of my embellishments to bring a little more attention to the detail on them. And I so much thank y'all for tuning in to watch this with me today. And if you can share it, like it, heart it, comment like you've done and all that, that indicates to Facebook that it was something that somebody might be interested in, and they'll actually show it to more people, which will help my business in the long run. So even when y'all are just tuning in like this, it means so much to me, because it helps my little business to grow. And maybe one day this will be all I do all day, every day. Somebody needs to tell me leave well enough alone on that. How about that? Here, there. That'll make me happy. There, I'll put some on there. Okay. You know what? I've never used this either. This is the Gilding Wax in turquoise teal. So hopefully it's not too bright. So there it is. Or there it is. Let's see what happens. Ooh. It pulled up a little bit of wax. Man, that's pretty. It's almost like a peacock feather looking, 2 or 3 different colors of teal on there. This isn't all the way dry either, but I'm gonna, yep, so it's not wanting to stick, but I can't help myself. I'm still gonna do it. Just put a little bit on there because we have a new wax to play with, so why not play with it, right? Is that not always the answer? If you got a new toy, play with it. How many fingers does it take? Put a little on the top. Okay, so there we go. This is still wet with the liquid patina, but I put just a tad of the turquoise teal gilding wax on the embellishments. So now we see what that looks like. I've got so dang much liquid patina on this one that I can't put nothing on there. It's going to take till next year to dry. This one, I think that turned out actually pretty good. I actually think this one turned out pretty good to be what it is. I may or may not do anything else to it. We're still waiting on that yellow paint to dry. And let me move that out. Well, move it right there. And I think once I put the copper on the embellishments, this one turned out cute too. So I hope that if you go and grab you some pumpkins at the Dollar Tree, that you will send me some pictures and show me what you do with yours, because I'm excited. I'm always living vicariously through the other crafters in the world, loving to watch what everybody does and creates, and then trying to do it on my own. And I appreciate y'all being here today, and I'll talk to you soon. Say goodbye, pumpkins. I don't know how to turn it off. Finish.